The wind is whipping past your ears at a deafening roar. Your fingers are white-knuckled around the cold, heavy hilt of a sword, and the ground below is a blurred tapestry of a world long forgotten. In this moment, you aren't a man worried about bills or the school run. You are a prince, a warrior, a force of nature.
But then you wake up. The sword is gone, the wind is just a draft from a poorly sealed window, and the only force of nature is the sound of 4 kids waking up in the next room. Talk about a reality check, right? It's a brutal transition from being a celestial hero to just a guy.
It's fascinating, Nico. What we're looking at here is the profound tension between the archetypal king within us and the crushing weight of modern responsibility. Our storyteller today, Yahshao, captures this perfectly. He speaks of that king energy we all feel sometimes, only to have it drained by the daily grind of providing.
Exactly, Emery. He describes it as being a working father for family, where you slowly lose your purpose. You're being put down by friends, by family, by the world. It's a heavy, sad life when that crown feels like it's made of lead rather than gold.
I mean, let's be real. How many people listening right now feel exactly that? You're doing the right thing, you're providing, but you feel like a ghost of the person you were meant to be. But Yahshao's story takes a turn into the truly extraordinary. It starts with a dream that felt more real than his waking life.
And not just any dream. This was a vivid, high-definition experience. He's flying through a house like Superman, sword in hand. He's back in the year 1900, in a village that feels ancient and visceral. This isn't just a random firing of neurons, it's a mission.
Imagine the scene he describes. He flies into the house and finds his father, a king dressed in gold and orange, wounded. There's an evil magician who has just struck him down. The imagery is so potent. The father sitting in the king's chair, blood at the corner of his mouth, telling his son, "Go, don't let him make his way."
Wait, let's pause there. An evil magician? It sounds like a fairy tale, but if we look at it as a metaphor, who is the magician in our lives? Is it the debt? The people who put us down? The things that destroy our family from the inside out?
That's a great point, Nico. In the dream, the magician represents the external forces that drain our power. But notice the reaction. Yahshao doesn't hesitate. He takes off at super speed. He chases this entity through the village. He regains his agency. He's no longer the tired father. He's the protector of the lineage.
He wakes up at 3 a.m., that witching hour where the veil is thin. And even though he's back in his room, something has shifted. He says he felt a general value, a feeling of belonging to a royal family. He'd never felt that happy in his entire life.
Which is kind of heartbreaking, isn't it? That he had to go to a dream world to feel that level of self-worth. But it clearly prepared him for what was coming next in the physical world. This wasn't just a feel-good dream, it was a training simulation.
It really was, because shortly after, the real world throws a massive curveball. His son starts complaining of agonizing pain, stomach pain, the kind of pain that makes a parent's blood run cold.
They go to the hospital, and the diagnosis is a hernia. The doctors are clear. He needs surgery. But for a father of 4 who is already struggling, the financial weight of that surgery is like another blow from that evil magician. The bill is going to hit them hard.
And this is where most of us would just spiral into despair, right? You're trapped. You have to save your son, but the cost might ruin the family. It's a no-win scenario. But Yahshao does something different. He and his wife pray, but then something happens in his mind.
This is the part that fascinates me from a psychological perspective. He describes a 3D image flooding around his thoughts. Like a reality 3D projector, he isn't just thinking, he's visualizing a surgery. He's seeing his own hands performing the operation, cutting, pulling back the organ, stitching it back.
He says this happened in that liminal space between being awake and falling asleep. And then, the memory he created became his dream. For 2 weeks straight, he plays this surgery over and over in his mind. He's practicing in the astral plane what needs to happen in the physical one.
Okay, but come on, Emery. Visualizing a surgery is one thing. Actually fixing a physical hernia with your mind? That's where you lose people. A hernia is a physical tear in the muscle wall. You can't just think that back together, can you?
Under traditional medical paradigms, no. But we have to look at the result. They go back for the surgery appointment. They're sitting in the waiting room, braced for the worst. And the doctor comes out in less than 30 minutes.
The doctor looks at them and says, "The problem is gone. We can't find it anymore. We can't do the surgery because there's nothing to fix." I can only imagine the look on their faces. It's the ultimate what just happened moment.
And the son says he forgot he ever had the pain. He tells his dad the pain vanished right after the last doctor visit. He feels totally normal. It's like the mental surgery Yahshao performed actually manifested in his son's body.
Yahshao ends his account with a powerful line, "I surgery my own son." It's a reclamation of that king power he felt in the dream. He wasn't just a helpless father anymore, he was a healer. He used that mission-driven energy to bypass the evil magician of the medical bill and the physical ailment.
It makes you wonder about the untapped potential of the human mind, especially when fueled by the love of a parent. We talk about placebo or spontaneous remission, but those are just labels for things we don't fully understand. What if the dream was the key that unlocked his ability to influence reality?
I'm still the skeptic here, but you can't argue with the outcome. Whether it was a miracle, a misdiagnosis, or some weird quantum entanglement between a father and son, the result is a healthy kid and a father who found his purpose again. But man, that 3D projector mental surgery, that's some next-level visualization.
It's actually a technique used by elite athletes and even some surgeons, mental rehearsal. But Yahshao took it to an intuitive, almost spiritual level. He didn't have the training, but he had the mission. And in the dream world, he was already a prince with a sword. He just changed the sword for a scalpel.
It's a reminder that even when we feel at our lowest, when we feel like just another cog in the machine, there might be a king's son inside us waiting for a mission. We might be more powerful than we realize, especially when the people we love are at stake.
So what's the takeaway for the rest of us? Do we all need to start dreaming of flying with swords to pay our bills? Or is there something more practical here about how we view our own missions in life?
I think it's about the king energy Emery mentioned. It's about not letting the world put you down to the point where you forget you have a mission. Yahshao felt like a king because he took responsibility for his family's survival in a way that went beyond just working a job.
Right. He refused to accept the sad life narrative. He used his subconscious as a tool rather than just a place to escape. That's the difference. Most people use dreams to flee from reality. He used his dream to fix it.
It's a wild story, honestly. If I hadn't heard the conviction in how he describes that 3D image flooding his mind, I'd say it was just luck. But he sounds so certain. I surgery my own son. That's not the sentence of a man who thinks he got lucky.
Exactly, Nico. It's the sentence of a man who has reclaimed his crown. And maybe that's the real miracle here. The son was healed, yes, but the father was restored. He found the purpose he thought he'd lost in the middle of raising 4 kids.
It's a narrative that starts in the clouds and ends in a hospital room. But the thread throughout is power. The power we lose and the power we find when we're pushed to the brink. It's a modern-day myth, really.
I'm still thinking about that evil magician. If we look at the dream, the magician destroyed the family first, then the son chased him. In reality, the hernia was the magician, and the mental surgery was the chase. It's a perfect parallel.
And notice the timing. The dream happened first. It was almost like a warning or a preparation. Don't let him make his way. The father in the dream gave him the command. It's like his ancestral or subconscious self was saying, "Get ready, something is coming, and you have the tools to handle it."
I love how he mentions the year 1900. It adds this timeless quality to it. Like this struggle, the father protecting the son, the king protecting the kingdom, is something that has been happening for centuries. We just happen to be doing it in 2024 with hospital bills and minivans.
So Ariel, if you're Yahshao, how do you live your life the day after that hospital visit? Do you just go back to being a working father? Or do you walk around knowing you've got a 3D projector in your brain that can rewrite reality?
I think you walk a little taller, Nico. I think the king energy doesn't go away after that. Once you've seen what your mind is capable of, the sad life doesn't have the same grip on you. You know you're on a mission.
It changes the way you look at every problem. Instead of, "How am I going to pay for this?" it becomes, "How am I going to solve this?" It shifts you from a victim of circumstance to an agent of change. That's the king archetype in action.
I guess we all have a bit of that magician to fight, don't we? Whether it's health issues, financial stress, or just that voice in our head saying we're not enough. The question is, are we brave enough to pick up the sword in our dreams?
And are we disciplined enough to do the mental surgery when things get real? Yahshao didn't just have a one-off thought. He focused for 2 weeks. He practiced. He committed to the visualization. That's a level of mental discipline most of us never touch.
It's a form of prayer, really, a very active, vivid form of prayer. He combined his faith with a structured mental image. It's a powerful combination. It's almost like he was building a bridge between the spiritual and the physical.
It's a story that stays with you. It makes you look at your own life and wonder what miracles are waiting just behind a bit of focused thought and a lot of love. Yahshao's journey from a tired father to a mental surgeon is something we can all learn from.
Yeah, even a skeptic like me has to admit, there's something more going on here than just coincidence. The timing is too perfect. The dream, the diagnosis, the visualization, the cure, it's a complete arc.
And it's a reminder that our roles as parents, as providers, aren't just about the physical stuff. It's about the energy we bring to the table. If you feel like a king, you'll provide like a king, even if the gold is just the health of your child.
Let's dive deeper into that king energy for a second. Emery, you've studied archetypes. Why does the king figure so prominently in our subconscious when we're feeling powerless?
Well, Ariel, the king is the archetype of order, fertility, and blessing. When the king is healthy, the land is healthy. When a father feels his king energy is low, he feels like his kingdom, his family, is at risk. The dream was a restoration of that archetype so he could protect his land, which was his son's health.
So the evil magician is basically the shadow version? The one who creates chaos and sickness? It's like a cosmic balance playing out in a 3 a.m. dream.
Exactly, Nico. The magician in its shadow form uses tricks or illusions to make us feel small and defeated. By chasing the magician, Yahshao was literally chasing away the illusion of his own helplessness.
It's interesting how he describes the dream as being in the 1900s. It strips away all the modern distractions. No smartphones, no insurance forms, just a village, a sword, and a house. It's very primal.
I think that's why it worked. Our brains sometimes get overwhelmed by the complexity of modern problems. But if you turn a hernia into a magician and a surgery into a sword fight, suddenly your lizard brain knows exactly what to do. It simplifies the mission.
That's a brilliant way to put it, Nico. It's about translation. Translating a complex, terrifying medical situation into a narrative where you have the upper hand. If you can win the battle in the narrative, maybe you can win it in reality.
And let's not overlook the role of the wife here. He says, "My wife and I were worried. We prayed to God." There was a shared intention. They were both focused on the same goal. That collective focus probably amplified the 3D projector effect he experienced.
It's like they created a war room in their house. Instead of just crying and waiting for the bill, they were actively engaging with the problem on a different level. I think we underestimate how much our emotional state affects the people around us, especially our kids.
The son's reaction is the most telling part for me. I forgot that I ever have the pain. That's not just the pain stopped. It's like the memory of the ailment was wiped clean. That's a deep level of healing.
It's as if the mental surgery went back in time and fixed the cause before the effect could linger. It's a very non-linear way of looking at health. But in the world of dreams and archetypes, time doesn't work the same way it does in a doctor's office.
Wait, let's talk about that 3 a.m. wake-up call again. Why then? Why does so much spiritual stuff seem to happen in the middle of the night? Is it just because it's quiet, or is there something else?
There are actually physiological reasons. Your cortisol is at its lowest, your melatonin has peaked, and you're often in a state of REM sleep that is very close to wakefulness. It's a peak time for lucid experiences, where the conscious and subconscious minds meet.
It's the time when the king can speak to the father without the noise of the worker getting in the way. It's a sacred space, in a way. And Yahshao used that space to receive his orders.
I'm wondering about the sword. He's holding a sword in the dream, but he uses his hands for the surgery. It's like the sword was a symbol of his power, but the healing required a more delicate touch. He evolved from a warrior to a healer within the same story.
That's a profound observation, Nico. The sword is for the magician, the external threat. The hands are for the son, the internal need. You need both to be a complete king. You have to be able to fight the world and heal your own.
And he did both. He chased the magician in the dream village, and he mended the hernia in the mental theater. It's a dual victory. No wonder he felt a happiness he'd never felt before. He was firing on all cylinders.
It makes me think about the mission he mentioned. He said, "I didn't know that I have mission." I think a lot of us feel that way. We think our mission is just to survive, but maybe it's something much more mythic.
Our mission is often hidden under the everyday life he talked about. We get so caught up in the providing food for the table part that we forget we're also the guardians of our family's spirit. Yahshao's mission was to realize he had the power to intervene.
It's a story that challenges the idea of being just anything. Just a father, just a worker. In the right light, with the right dream, those just roles become legendary. You're not just a father, you're a king's son with a sword.
I'm going to be looking at my dreams a lot differently tonight. I'll tell you that much. And maybe paying a bit more attention to those 3D images that pop into my head when I'm trying to solve a problem. Who knows what we're actually capable of fixing?
We all have that 3D projector, Nico. We just usually use it to project our fears or our what-if disasters. Yahshao showed us what happens when you use it to project a solution. It's a masterclass in intentionality.
It really is, and it's a beautiful resolution to a story that started with such sadness. From being put down by the world to standing tall in a hospital room where the doctors have no explanation. That's the ultimate win.
I still can't get over the doctor's reaction. We can't find the problem no more. Can you imagine the medical notes on that? Patient scheduled for hernia repair. Hernia spontaneously resolved via father's mental projection. They'd never write that, but that's the reality Yahshao lived.
They'd probably call it a spontaneous resolution and leave it at that. But for Yahshao and his family, they know the truth. They know that a father's love and a prince's courage did what a scalpel couldn't, or didn't have to.
It's a story of hope, really. A reminder that even when the bills are high and the energy is low, there's a reservoir of power inside us that we can tap into. We just have to be willing to fly after the magician.
And maybe keep a sword handy, just in case. You know, for the 1900s version of yourself.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, we are all the protagonists of a much larger story than we realize. We just need the occasional 3:00 a.m. wake-up call to remind us.
Yahshao, thank you for sharing this. It's a narrative that bridges the gap between the mundane and the miraculous. It's a tale of a father who found his crown in the most unlikely of places. In the middle of a crisis. In the middle of a dream.
It's definitely changed my perspective on what providing for a family really means. It's not just the food on the table, it's the belief in the impossible.
And the courage to act on that belief, even when it sounds crazy to everyone else, especially when it sounds crazy. That's where the real power lies.
As we wrap up this journey through Yahshao's experience, take a moment to look at the magicians in your own life. What would happen if you stopped being afraid of them and started chasing them? What would happen if you performed your own mental surgery on the things that are holding you back?
Maybe we'd all find out we're sons and daughters of kings too. Maybe the crown is just waiting for us to notice it's there.
I think that's the most resonant reflection we can end on. The miracle wasn't just the healing, it was the realization of the mission. And that's a mission we're all invited to join.
In the quiet hours of the night, when the world is still and the dreams are vivid, remember Yahshao. Remember the sword, the gold clothing, and the 3D projector of the mind. You are more than your bills. You are more than your struggle. You are the healer in your own story.
Wait, before we go, I just realized something. He said he was back in the 1900s in the dream. That's roughly the time his own grandfathers or great-grandfathers would have been around. It's like he was tapping into his literal royal lineage.
That's a beautiful thought, Nico, connecting with the strength of those who came before us to protect those who come after. It's the perfect circle.
The circle of the king. And with that, we leave you to your own dreams. May they be filled with flight, with courage, and with the power to mend what is broken. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon and your sword within reach.
And maybe check your stomach for any magicians. Just saying.
Good night, everyone, and stay royal.
Let's take one last look at that final scene in the hospital. The father asks the son, "When is the pain gone?" And the son says, "After the last doctor visit." It's such a specific detail. It means the healing happened before. The surgery was even attempted. It was already done.
It's like the intent was the actual medicine. The moment Yahshao decided he was going to surgery his own son in his mind, the physical reality started to shift. That's the most Superman thing about the whole story.
It reminds me of the concept of the observer effect in physics, where the act of observing something changes the outcome. Yahshao didn't just observe his son's pain, he observed his son's healing. He changed the outcome by changing his internal vision.
And he did it with the authority of a king, not the desperation of a victim. That shift in posture from "why is this happening to us" to "I am fixing this" is everything. It's the difference between a sad life and a mission-led life.
I'm honestly still buzzing from this. It's not every day you hear about someone literally thinking a hernia out of existence. It makes the world feel a little more magical, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests that the evil magician doesn't have the final say. The prince with the sword does, and that prince is inside all of us just waiting for the right moment to fly.
So, to all the fathers and mothers out there feeling like they've lost their energy, take heart. Your mission might be closer than you think. And your power? It's just a dream away.
Well said, Ariel. I think I'm ready to go find my own sword now, or at least a very sharp mental scalpel.
We'll all be watching for the results, Nico. See you in the dreamscape.
Sleep well, everyone. And remember, use surgery your own life every single day. Make it a masterpiece. Before we truly close, let's reflect on the imagery of the gold clothing orange like gold with blood on the father in the dream. It's such a visceral image of sacrifice. The king was wounded, but he was still the king. It shows that even in our suffering, there's a nobility.
That's a key point, Ariel. The wound doesn't take away the royalty. The father's struggle in real life, the sad life he mentioned, was his blood on the side of the mouth. But he was still wearing the gold. He just needed his son, his own successor, to recognize it and take up the fight.
It's a multi-generational thing. The father in the dream empowers the son, who then heals his own son in reality. It's the lineage of the king being passed down through the dreams and through the heart. It's about more than just one man. It's about the whole family line.
And that's the ultimate resolution. The mission wasn't just to fix a hernia. It was to fix the spirit of the family. To move from a state of being put down to a state of being raised up. Literally flying above the village.
It's a beautiful arc. From the weight of the world to the weightlessness of flight. From the pain of a son to the peace of a family. Yahshao's story is a testament to the fact that we are never truly powerless unless we believe we are.
I'm sold. I'm officially a believer in the king energy. Now, if I could just figure out how to fly through my house like Superman, I'd be all set.
Maybe start with the sword, Nico. The flight comes later. Thank you all for listening to this incredible tale. May your own missions be clear and your dreams be powerful.
Goodbye for now. And remember, the magician only wins if you stop chasing him.
Chasing starts now. See ya.
And with those final words, we close the book on this chapter. But the story continues every time you close your eyes. Good night. Wait, I just thought of one more thing. The speed. Yahshao mentions super speed and flying so fast that he wakes up. It's like the intensity of his purpose was too much for the physical body to hold. He was vibrating at a different frequency.
That's a common report in high-level visualization or flow states. You lose sense of time and space because you're so focused on the goal. That speed was his momentum. He carried that momentum right into the surgery visualization for his son.
So he didn't just think about it, he raced toward the solution. I love that. It's not a passive hope. It's an aggressive pursuit of health. He chested the magician around the village. He didn't let him get away.
Exactly. After the evil man, don't let him make his way. That was the command. And he followed it to the letter, both in the dream and in the hospital. He didn't let the illness make its way. He cut it off at the pass.
It's a powerful lesson in boundaries too, deciding what you will and will not allow into your family's reality. Yahshao drew a line in the sand, or in the air, I guess, and said no further.
A prince, a protector, a surgeon. Not a bad resume for a working father of 4. I think his kids are in good hands.
In the very best of hands. Hands that know how to hold a sword and how to heal. Thank you, Yahshao, for reminding us of the King within. This has been an unforgettable journey.
An absolute honor to analyze this. It's these kinds of stories that remind us why we tell tales in the first place, to find the truth hidden in the myths.
And the truth here is clear. Love is the greatest magician of all, and it's on our side. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Keep flying.